Well, hello and welcome. Very interesting conversation this evening, and let me say welcome to those of you who are listening to us on radio. I think this is the first time PM Express is being on radio on Joy 99.7 FM. So welcome. Those of you on TV, you are regular viewers. So as for us, join me as we welcome the radio guys on board. Well, this evening we're looking at matters less than 24 hours to election 2016. Matters arising, and indeed there are a lot of matters arising. Now, since there was no opinion today, this is my opinion. Well, I see the NPP, campaigning and not wanting to leave anything to chance. Nothing is being left to chance. And I see the NDC campaigning, and you know what? They aren't leaving anything to chance either. Indeed, they are campaigning as if this is the first time they are ever going to taste power. Now, that's what I call campaigning and a half. So Wednesday, I'm sure the people will talk, and when the people talk, definitely God will speak on Wednesday. I just want to look at the final days of elections and see how it is that it's going. Is it any different from other campaigns that we have ever seen, or is this the usual campaign? We also want to look at special voting and names still not appearing. Are we blowing in the hot air? Should we go home and sleep and business as usual? Is it a cause for concern? Then we also want to look at our fake ballots that supposedly popped up in Kumasi somewhere. Now the police are saying, go to sleep. After all, it wasn't the EC that printed those ballot boxes. It's just some guys that printed it. There's no cause for alarm there either. Wednesday is just around the corner. What's going to happen? My name is Nana Ansakwal IV, Akwamodu Masahini, and your host right here on PM Express. I'm going to take a break, and when I come back, I have some fine gentlemen who can really analyze what's happening. Don't even move and don't touch that dial.
We have been through trying and challenging times together over the last 4 years. Over the last 4 years, I've given off my best as president of this great republic and also as candidate in the lead up to Wednesday's elections. Now the rest is in the hands of the people of Ghana and the will of the Almighty God. I place my destiny in your hands, and I place my destiny in the hands of God and the Ghanaian people. Ladies and gentlemen, the choice we face in this election is simple: to stay the course and forge on with determination and consolidate all the gains that we have made over the last 4 years, or to give up and begin again on another course of which we have no guarantees of success, but just the oral assurances of a small group of people. These are the two choices we face in the election on Wednesday. And it is for Ghanaians to make a determination which of the two they will choose. Ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, it must not be said that we cannot pursue a task to its logical end because we are lured by the unanchored promises of change. We would be like a fluttering flag that changes direction with every shift of the wind. We have undertaken many structural reforms based on pragmatic advice of many well-meaning Ghanaians. All that I have achieved, I have not done alone. Everything we have achieved working together as Ghanaians. And all of us must share in that success. I have received advice from Ghanaians of varying persuasions. Some of them don't even share the same political ideology as I share as a social democrat. And yet they have been very generous in sharing their viewpoints with me. I want to thank all Ghanaians for your assistance. We have made modest gains in stabilizing our economy, resolving a power crisis, and improving our social and economic infrastructure. We have done much work in this country, Ghana, but more needs to be done. And we can only advance faster if we press on and stay the course. We can only advance faster if we press on and stay the course. That is how we can consolidate the gains we have made. Even the example of developed nations show that life is always full of challenges. As you resolve challenges, new challenges crop up. There is never an end to challenges any nation faces. The strongest nation on earth, the richest nation on earth, is still dealing with challenges. And so it doesn't mean that when you confront challenges, you must give up, back off, go and start afresh. No. My brothers and sisters, the achievements of our government are well documented, and I'll not take up your time in recounting them here.
John Dramani Mahama and the NDC inherited an economy that was growing at 9.1% without oil from J.A. Kufuor. Today, this year, we're going to have the lowest rate of growth in our history in the last 22 years under the watch of Mahama. And he's saying, with these statistics, that we should give him another chance, another 4 years. Are we going to give him another 4 years? We are not going to give him another 4 years. He is a threat to the future of our country. We're going to put him aside and bring in Akufo-Addo and the MPP to lift our country up and get Ghana working again, get Ghana going again. Now, Banisa, send them from my bow my Ghana, MPP from my. The Bia Obako. Islam Volta region, Western region, Brogafo, Eastern region, Central region, Upper West, Upper East, North, all over our country. There is a strong wind blowing behind the elephant, taking the elephant to a historic victory on Wednesday, the 7th of December. Now you see, the man penny and DC for a baby when you who said a conyano, a conyano, 1 year free so. The Baba can send baby in these last 48 hours. All kinds of libelous and defamatory things are going to be said about me, my running mate, members of my party and my party. I am pleading with you, don't pay any heed to any of that. It's utter rubbish and lies and fabrications and Minkumobia, Minkumobia, Womiase, Embo Bia Chrono, and the Ora Kafa me on me. Bijamenaso and Fame Okra, Etimoso Sosono, Mama Bebo. Know that we are going to victory on Wednesday, the 7th of December.
Well, thank you very much for staying. Welcome back. Those of you watching us on the Joy News channel and those listening to us via Joy 99.7 FM. With me in the studio, sat right next to me is my senior brother who seemed to have disappeared and then came back. But you know, a brother can run, but he can hide. Captain Dukumsin. Captain, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Captain is retired. Yes, good. Good to have you back. Captain is retired, but a security analyst. And I have here in the studio Dr. Eric Odru Osine, who's a political economist, who's also in the studio. Doctor, you're welcome.
Thank you, my brother.
Doc, let me start with you with regards to the last-minute campaigning. I'll start with my view. Now, I said I see the NPP campaigning as if, look, the campaigning as if something is going to go wrong, and therefore let me even correct it before it goes wrong. I've seen Anadu drive through town today throwing leaflets, and in the leaflets are messages of what he wants to do. All the cars have got one district, one factory, 1 million, one. I mean, it's like, everything. And then I see the NDC today, and they're also campaigning, regardless, as if they are not the ones in power. Campaigning as if they are now coming to power. Hard campaigning. And I listened to the president's voice, and you can tell he has worked for it. I mean, he's worked for his, he's worked for it. What's your preliminary comments on the campaigns?
Thank you very much. I think in elections, political strategy is very important. And you can do all the work, you can do all the campaigning from the one. If you don't end well, you don't bring proper closure, where you can drum home the point, you give people points to give them reason to vote for you, you can lose the election at the tail end of the line. And that's what they are trying to do. And you realize that the NDC is not leaving any stone unturned. The NPP also think that they would have to wrestle power at all costs from the ruling party. So they will have to drum home their point. And I am not surprised this is happening because both parties have worked. So you need to put final touches to whatever you've done. People are going to the polls on Wednesday. What is it that should compel them to vote for you? What is it that 1, 2, or 3 messages that should be kept in the subconscious minds of people, even as they go to the polls? And that is what is happening. And I'm happy about what is happening. But my challenge in all of this is, where are the other political parties? Where are the other political parties? Where is PPP? Where is CP? Where are the others? How are they bringing closure to their campaigning process? It is very important we get to know what is happening there too. But NPP has really, in my view, given NDC a hot chase for their money.
Captain.
Well, like my brother said, it's like the debating club. You put your arguments across. In the beginning is the scenario. You introduce the topics. You go into the points of your argument, and then as you come to closure, you want to summarize all your points that you've been speaking about into hard, crystal-like sound bites. That is what will stick in their minds as they go to vote. So, like you said, they've done all the talking. You now have to crystallize it into sound bites, summaries that people will remember. And you have to close hard. And that is what is happening. And this time around, like we're saying, the MPP is actually really giving the NDC a run for their money. We have seen incumbency at its best. Let us say, incumbency at its best. But incumbency has now been sorely tested by the sheer determination of the NDC, the MPP, and even some of the other parties, Pakwesi Ndom's party. Yeah. In fact, people are giving incumbency now a run for their money. And for me, it's exciting. It should get to a point where we will make incumbency not too relevant, either by legislation or by whatever happens. But incumbency has to be cut down, where we will have situations like the UK, the US, and these things, where the playing ground will be level. And that is the reason why the NPP and the other parties had to come out strong, really strong. You heard the president talk today. You see that he's really giving his best.
Yeah.
It was not easy. I felt for him. The voice was cracking. But look at Nana, that older man. Right from all the time to the last day, the power was still burning. So the parties have really given incumbency a hard run for their money.
Let me announce, we're all going to hear it first, that we have been extended. We need an extra hour. So today we have really good time to deliberate issues. Mrs. Kumsing and Mrs. Osai, if they said they were going to come at 10 o'clock, they are going to they have an extra hour to debate. And in any case, my guest always complained that time is. So now we got an extra hour. So those of you listening to us on Joy 99.7 FM, we have an extra hour on PM Express today to really talk. And then send your messages to 0560 800 000. 0560 800 000. That's the WhatsApp messages. And then you can send your tweets to @NanaAnsakwaw, @NanaAnsakwaw, and then I would read your tweets or your answers for you. Captain, is there anything different about this year's campaign, or it's the usual, campaign? Do you think this year's campaign has been more intensive? Is there anything different?
It has. It really has been more intensive, to the extent that we really didn't have a holiday. Right from 2012, right? The contest was so close, and then it was challenged, then went to court. 9 months, 12 months, and the thing, Ghana was split right through the middle. And the temperature never really cooled down until now. So that is, I think that is the starting point. The temperature really didn't cool down enough until now. And so this time, it was like constant 4-year campaign.
Doc, you share the same view? Or?
I do, Nana. When you look at the election petition case of 2012, it brought out a number of issues. And it raised awareness amongst people, especially the opposition, who thought that they won the elections. And pronouncement by the Supreme Court that elections are won at the polling stations, and there were things that the opposition was supposed to do and they never did. And then when you look at the number of court cases that bedeviled the Electoral Commission and the issues about the voters register and all of that, it tells you that yes, they had 4 years of campaigning, but real campaign took off really after the Electoral Commission has accepted their nominations and everything. And that space of time was so short that you need to up your game. You need to roll out your strategies almost within an impossible period. So for me, that is what came out strongly. And then some political parties were rejected, others lost, others went to the court, and they had to come back and all of that. It tells you that once you come back, you need to up your game. So it changed the face of campaigning. And then all the political parties were targeting the ruling party. So the ruling party also realized that, look, I need to also up my game. So if you see the way they have campaigned, they changed their strategies, they came out with all kinds of jingles, they came out with billboards and all of that. So these were some of the factors that worked to ensure that we have very keen competition. And for me, I am happy. That's the beauty of democracy. That is the beauty of democracy. You have a number of political parties coming out with different kinds of ideas, coming out with campaign strategies, but there were things that were below the belt, though. Things like the personality attacks, that is not what we were expecting. Campaigning was supposed to be on issues, but it got to a point where people descended down there and they started attacking the personalities of the leadership of the various political parties. That, for me, was on the low side. But above all, I think it was good competition, and they came out with a number of policies. Though we could not digest all of them, but the policies also helped in the campaigning process. Because one person will say that I'm doing one factory, one district. Then the next day, you get the other political party or other platform saying that one is not feasible. We're already doing it. We're going to do this. It gave Ghanaians the various alternatives.
Nana, you see, and then the populace is getting more aware. Those days you could tell them anything and they will swallow it hook, line, and sinker. It's gone. Mm-hmm. And we had what do you call it? Not the NGOs, the associations like Imani and what do you call them?
Think tanks.
The think tanks and not the civil society organizations, hyping also the awareness in the system with the what do you call it? The manifesto thing, the analysis, the promises, what did they deliver, what they are saying, what is feasible. It all heightened the public awareness. Now people are questioning. If you tell me you will give me this, they will ask you. Sometimes they don't even listen to the message. They are looking at the messenger. Right? They are looking at the messenger. If for 4 years you couldn't give me this, how are you going to give me this in the next 3 months? You understand? So the whole thing, civil society got involved, the courts got involved, people got aware. There was a sense that we had actually been robbed of the vote or God knows what. The whole thing never died down. And civil society and everybody got involved. And now that is why this campaign looks so different from the others. And people power has started to come to fore. I have always been advocating for people to be more engaged in what occurs, what happens to them. We are too docile. Now we are coming out of our docility. You know, we are too docile as a people. You tell us anything goes. But now we are getting to question those who are even bringing. We are not even questioning the message. We're looking at the messenger. Now after we've looked at the messenger, we'll look at the message.
Doc, what was this idea about revisiting? The president goes to Ashanti region, leaves to go to Brong-Ahafo, then another goes to Ashanti region. He leaves Brong-Ahafo, comes to Ashanti region, this guy goes back. I mean, it was like just revisiting. You go to the Volta, I'll come there. If you go here, I'll come there. And if you go, I'll also come there. I mean, it was just revisiting. What's the strategy behind it?
Yeah, it was a very good strategy. You see, I want to give thumbs up to those managing the two men. Because what it means is that Nana Addo visits a place, he will make a commitment, he will make a statement. If you don't go there to clear the air, you are in deep trouble. So then the campaign strategists will tell you that, look, after this region, let's go to the other region and go and when you go there, make a very strong policy statement that will debunk what the other person has said. But after doing that, this person would also move to the other place. So I think it was a cycle of promises, debunking one promise or the other. But then at the end of the day, the people are discerning. They know who is speaking the truth. They know who is capable of delivering. They know who would be honest with them. But I think it was a strategy that worked for them, except that it made them very tired. And then aside that, it threw their original campaign strategy plan out of gear. What they were using was that they were using a contingency, a strategy approach. So they respond to the issues as and when it comes up. And for me, it was good. It was good because when you go here and there's an issue, you need to respond to it. If you don't respond to it, it is going against you. But that never happened to the other political parties. They were, as it were, going according to a predetermined plan. So they executed that one. Whereas the NPP and the NDC were counteracting each other and they were outwitting each other and all of that. In fact, if we hadn't ended it today, they were going to continue in that cycle.
Captain.
You see, I think there was another shift. They had settled into, this is my World Bank and this is my territory. Then suddenly they realized, no, if I am to make a headway, I have to invade this guy's territory. And this guy has to invade this guy's. So you realize that suddenly, where the NPP had shied away from the Volta region and had virtually ceded the north part, big chunks of the northern region, they said, no, hell with it. We will fight for our stake. We know we will not win it, but we will get a better part of the stake. Then comes, we also won 1 million votes out of the Ashanti. So there was this, it has gotten to a stage, we've grown out of our comfort zones. We've grown out of our World Banks. If you don't defend your bank, someone will break your bank. And so therefore, this candidate goes in there and propagates and talks, and then the other guy says, if he's gone into my territory, they may believe him, so I have to go back to my territory. So that was also another dynamic that came in. But there is a shift. I am saying that the Ghanaian electorate is gradually becoming more and more and more sophisticated. My great-grandfather voted this party, but now the children are saying, no, what is happening? I'm not going to vote what my father voted. And you are seeing it. I mean, in some of the traditional areas, the sort of crowds you see in, say, the Volta region. Some of the crowds I saw there were just stupendous, right? And then Mahama would do the same thing, goes to Kumasi. And so you realize that the kids are kicking against the fathers. Now they are listening more. They don't want to be branded anymore that because we are from here, we are like this. They are growing, and it's a good cycle. It's a good development. I think it's in the right direction. And we should wait anxiously for what is going to happen on Wednesday. Yeah. I am really, really excited, and I'm anticipating people making inroads into places people didn't believe could happen.
Dr. Josai, you asked a question about, what the bar has been really raised, and you don't see the other parties along. Is it time for them to sit in the room, bury their egos, and say, listen, where this bar has reached, I mean, if we don't come together, it will be very difficult to fight. Yes, Indum, yes, CPP, but until they come together, I mean, the crowds at Stadium today, the crowds at Trade Fair today, I mean, they won't be able to pull these crowds. And the bar is just so high now. Is it time for them to bury the hatchet, sitting now? Because they're mainly all from a CPP, background-ish. Is it time, or?
I think it's about time they unite. It's about time we have a third force. And we can only have a third force if the CPP group comes together. Look at what happened in Gambia. It took a coalition of the opposition to come out with Adama Barrow to be able to unseat the 22-year rule of our man, Yahya Jammeh. So the CPP's front is too fragmented. I think they need to come together. If we need a third force in this country, and we can get a third force from the CPP enclave, it will really help. Because as it stands now, consistently, they are not able to win significant percentages of the votes. And in this particular election, when you look at the statistics and the situation on the ground, it is very clear that the one that would win is likely to win first round. If you are not able to win first round, and you go into second round, then you need the other parties to support you, the coalition. So whichever way you look at it, they need to position themselves well. But going forward, we need them to unite. We need them to bury their differences, and then continue in the legacy of Nkrumah through the unification process. Because if they don't do that, I'm afraid they will continue to contest. But any time they contest, they are not going to make any significant impact, in my view.
Nana, I think it will be a tragedy for them to throw in the towel and join the big clubs. It will be a tragedy. I will encourage them to continue to grow in their own stead. If they can come together, that will be beautiful. But I dare say, they've been so decimated by the other parties and the personal egos, and I don't think they now can't identify themselves. What is Nkrumahism? NDC claims part of the Nkrumahism, and everybody is claiming part of the Nkrumahism, and But look, you should travel to Central and Western region and see Pakwesi Indum. That guy definitely is not going to win this election. But he definitely is going to make inroads. And I believe in people growing gradually. They may one day become the kingmakers. You will have to talk to them. Right? And so therefore, they have to grow. If they can come together, that will be all the better for all of us, because we need a strong third party. But the way it looks, they may have to grow on their own gradually.
Dr. Johnson, something which I find a bit weird. Now, you see President or ex-President Kufuor at MPP rally, and then you see MPP make a lot of references, and Kufuor era, and Kufuor era, and Kufuor era. You come to NDC, you don't see Rawlings, and then they make reference to Nkrumah. I don't know. I mean, what's...
Was Rawlings at the rally?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
Okay.
I think strategy-wise, that's really is going to affect NDC, whichever way you look at it, because NDC could have campaigned on the back of Professor Mills. Professor Mills is not alive as of now. And President Rawlings is alive, who happens to be the founder. Under normal circumstances, you would expect to find him there to give his blessings, especially when the major opposition party has had their leader, their immediate past leader, President Kufuor, giving his blessing and backing to them during their last day of the rally. So I was expecting them, with whatever it would take them, to get His Excellency former President Rawlings to the rally ground, so at least he will make a statement. But that was not to be. It's something that a question that people will keep asking: are they still together? Are they still united? What is it that they are not telling Ghanaians? That for me is not a very good political strategy. And if there are people, I can tell you that there are some voters who vote for the NDC because they hold Rawlings so dear. So if you bring these people, if you bring Rawlings on board, you are able to attract all these votes. But the Rawlings factor is really an important part of NDC's victory, and they should be able to do something about it.
But why don't they? Okay, assuming Rawlings didn't come, I mean, rural electrification, those days when there's night, he went in the bush and carted, cocoa beans himself. I mean, like when the chips were down, he was there. I mean, can they make reference that, look, once upon a time when we had not this, I don't know. Why don't
that is the strategy bit they missed out. They got that bit wrong. But I kept asking myself, who are the people working on the strategy for the president? Because all these things were things that they could have mentioned. They were things that they could have capitalized on. And they've done a lot of things in this country. They have done a lot of things in this country that they were not priding themselves with. So I think there was something wrong with strategy. And if they are to go into another election, I want to advise them that they really have to set up again in terms of strategy.
Captain.
Nana, it was telling. It was telling to see that the founder, right? Is the founder?
The founder. Yes.
The founder of the party and the longest ruling president of Ghana, who is still alive, is absent from the final. It's telling. It begs the question: what is wrong? What is wrong? We've heard that the NPP is fractured and there's this faction and this faction. Thank you. We haven't heard anything from there, but our eyes are seeing what is really, really happening. Look, you cannot write the history of the NDC without Rawlings. So what happened? There is a bigger story we are not hearing. There is a bigger story. How could the NDC possibly pride itself in anything without Rawlings? How? That doesn't make sense. It's a big problem for them. I think it's a big problem for them. And it's so telling by its silence. That silence is so loud.
The other thing which I find is that, and I think Dr. Dro also has mentioned it, is that I think in the beginning, from the Supreme Court time coming, the NDC spent too much time castigating Nana Addo rather than telling the good jobs that they have done. And I kept saying that, the road from Airwalk coming through Airport Hills, through Spintex, Flowerport Junction, it's a very significant road that would ease traffic and headache and stress. But it was like a top secret road. And I think by the time they started announcing it, it became more like defensive, rather than, being a trumpet of what we have done, it became defensive. And I don't know if I'm wrong or right, but I think they spent too much time, Nana Addo's this, Nana Addo's that, Nana Addo's that. But in the meantime, they were doing things which I think they could have used that same airtime to say, no, hold on, we're easing traffic here, we're giving this benefit here, we're giving that benefit here. And I think they also missed out on that.
Yeah, Nana, you see, it was a bad strategy. Look, I have constantly been saying, if you've done a little bit of studies into emotional intelligence, you realize that we have emotional babies ruling us. They were doing all these developmental projects. But why? They wanted to keep everything and announce the last minute. So therefore, even in developing us, it was not developing us for us our sake, but developing us to remain in power. And then castigate the person. You see, how long haven't we heard about all these allegations about Nana? That by the morning time, by the time you pass by him, you are drunk even from the fumes. And all this funny things. You see, it has run its course. Like you said, they will throw everything. It has run it. It's a bankrupt idea now. So, and they spent too much time on that bankruptcy. Whereas they had all these things. How? So that even the development was everything geared towards the last 6 months or 3 months of the 4 years. Is that a genuine development? Then within the last 3 months, it's like a marathon. What do you call it? Short cuttings. Yeah. No, not short cutting. Marathon commissioning. Marathon. We are now busy with our commissioning. That road is so strategic, so nice, so wonderful. Why was it a secret? Were things around it not transparent? It begs the question. You understand? It really begs the question, and it is. I am saying I will boil it down that to having emotional babies in wrong places running us. Look, you can be a professor, but you'll be an emotional baby.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. You're right.
Then let's move on to special voting.
Oh, please.
Let's move on to special voting. Special voting has been with us ever since we started voting. Some people vote early so they can go back. And I remember, I think when President Mill, God bless his soul, passed, that day was special voting, and some media men were very upset that, look, we have to come and, broadcast, President Mill's, funeral. And that day they had to go and do special voting. And so that was a hiccup. Apart from that, I've never actually heard special vote. It seems to just come and pass as if it's never there. But this year, Dr. Drosai, this year special voting has been special. I mean, they've tried it twice. And so on the 7th, I mean, it's third time lucky as to whether you can special vote or you can't special vote. I mean, Dr. Dro, what's
I think we should take the name special voting off. The voting that took place, there was nothing special about it. Because under normal circumstances, these are a group of people we hold so dear that they have work to do on the day of election to protect all of us. So we should give them that special treatment so they will be able to cast their vote with less difficulty. But what did we see? They had challenges casting their vote. So it lost the speciality touch. Aside from that, it looks as if we did not prepare well as a nation. And the blame game process, the shifting, is something that I personally did not understand. But I saw it coming. The moment the revised register for the special voting was not exhibited, we did not create enough room for that particular register to be exhibited, so some of these things can be avoided. As soon as they fail to create a room to exhibit it for those who qualify to vote to go and check whether indeed they will be able to cast their vote in those stations, I realize we're going to have challenges. But it also tells us that as a nation, we should avoid pushing a lot of things to the last minute. We should develop a comprehensive calendar, respect the calendar, and make sure that we operate according to the calendar. We push so many things to the wall to the extent that we have these special voters voting once, twice, and thrice, which for me is not the best. I think it did not go on well. We should learn good lessons out of it and then make sure that come Wednesday, we don't repeat those mistakes again.
Nana, what sort of good lessons are we learning out of this thing? Is this the first time we are doing this so-called special, or what do you call it, voting? I think it started 92.
92, yeah.
92. We've been having this thing without incident. Question is, what happened? What happened? It's something radical has happened that is causing this thing. And I asked this morning, there are 7 commissioners. Only one has changed. So are the other 7 asleep, or they are not advising the one, or the one is primus inter pares, arrogating everything to him or herself? What is happening? Are they themselves kosher among themselves, or they are fighting there? What happened? Look, it's with these security agencies. This morning I said it. It is very difficult and painful at times to be in the security agency, but it's also a joy, because you go to the US, you go to Germany, and they see soldiers and the respect they give them. You buy a beer and said, it's on me. You understand? go to the Veterans Association. I mean, these are people who are prepared to work in the night to face an armed robber whilst you sleep. These are people who will make sure that you can do your business in peace. But then, you see, then you have to treat them with a little bit of circumspect and all these things. They voted several times. I'll read something a commander, an ex-commander sent me. He's now a retired general. Okay. He said, I had my first voter ID card in '95. In Burma camp, before my postings to Jungle Warfare School in Achiasi as commanding officer. And I voted at Achiasi without any problem as a special voter. In 2000, as commanding officer of 3 Battalion in Sunyani, I voted as a special voter again, and there was no problem. I have voted subsequently in other elections as a, what do you call it? What do you call them? Special voting. What? So the question is, what happened this time? Did we just turn the tables upside down, upset the apple cart? And then I heard that this morning, I heard that the processes, they didn't understand the processes. They should have transferred their this, and they should have done this, and they should have done. Then I said, wait a minute. Do you know there's caliber of people in the security agencies, the police? Look, the police officer who was on the Breakfast Show Saturday, he's a doctor something.
Okay.
Go to the armed forces. I mean, everybody has a second, and the PhDs are plenty. Yeah. They are telling me they don't understand, and I gave examples. My own friend and colleague, Kofi Amwabing, is an ex-soldier. You're telling me he's a dance, he couldn't understand those processes if you told him? Ablokwaku, who was the former head of IRS. Major Ablokwaku. He's a dance, he couldn't understand the processes. Me, ex-business executive. If you told me that I have to do this, I have to do this, I wouldn't understand it. Kwame Sefa sitting there every day talking. He couldn't understand the process. Look, they did not plan it well. Their work plan was bad. The project planning was bad.
There was no slack period.
There was no slack period. Everything in Ghana, since I came to Ghana, is like emergency meeting. Emergency meeting. Emergency meeting. You do that in Germany once, twice, they will fire you. You don't do that. You have to cut yourself a slack. 4 years to plan this thing. And you cry 6 months to plan this thing. To the extent that the day before the election, new lists are always being brought. New lists are always being brought. What really happened? It's high time we called a spade a spade. If somebody messed up, let us say the person messed up, and you have to plan better next time. Full stop.
This is true, but then this was just 124, 127, 75% were able to go through. The rest, maybe some may have traveled, some may have passed, so it doesn't mean that all, well, they should all be, because these are just special voters. So assuming they're all at work that
who
have
just
duty
to perform on Wednesday.
They had names and they're being posted, they're being deployed.
At least you should get 90, and above % going to vote. But moving over to everybody's now concerned about the larger picture, where 14 or 15 million now have to do it. So then, if you say 25% of, is the margin of error, it becomes huge. We are all hoping that nothing happens. I mean, I don't know. The larger picture, are we going in with too much suspicion?
Definitely. We're going in this election with too much suspicion. But I also want to believe that, with the bigger one, they seem to be prepared. Because she's issued out a press release, a statement outlining who is doing what, and coming up with a plan B, as it were, and all of that. But my biggest challenge is those who were not able to vote during the special voting, the second day on Sunday, they may want to vote on December 7th. Assuming they are not at their duty post, what is going to happen? We have to address our minds to that. It's very important.
Apparently now you'll be posted to where you would have to vote.
Assuming they get there and they are not able to vote, it's their name cannot be found in the register. What's going to happen? No matter the way you look at it, the psychological imbalance is not the best for the growth of our democracy. No matter how you look at it, it doesn't augur well for the image of the Electoral Commission. No matter how you look at it, it is something. It was an avoidable situation. We had no business allowing it to happen. Yes, we should say to ourselves that we did not do well. And that's the bit that pains me in this country. We are not able to admit our fault. We are not able to come out to say that we are responsible for our own actions. We are going to take remedial measures. We will not allow it to happen again. Up until now, the EC has not come out to apologize to Ghanaians. And for me, I think it is bad leadership. Yes. I think the EC should come up as a good leader. Be responsible for your own actions. Come out and then apologize to Ghanaians. Tell them we've taken remedial measures to make sure that come December 7th, all will go on well. Go ahead to outline the strategies you have for December 7th. Give us the alternative or plans, plan B, plan C, plan D. Give Ghanaians the assurance. In that case, people will be assured, the expectations will be very high, people would manage their expectation and the tension and all of that. But as of now, they've not come out to apologize. They are rather shifting the goalposts, and that is why I have a challenge.
And explaining things away. That is the issue. This morning, Japasu said, let's avoid the blame game. But then he goes on to tell you that these people didn't do this and this. So it's still the blame game. What we are pleading is that, you see, you could see the pain of these security personnel. You see, once they are in there, you can't even talk by heart. You can't really talk exactly how you feel, to the extent that they are even now being threatened for voicing their frustration. And we want to beg the authorities that be, please, don't punish them. And rather, make every effort to help them, assist them to cast their vote. Because you see, if your vote is sacred to you, it is sacred to him too. And you just can't send him like a yo-yo. If you didn't see it here, you came on Wednesday, didn't work, come on Sunday, and then go to your village where you registered. And the doctor is asking, what about if he goes there and it is also not there? What about if he goes to try to vote? Who does his duty? Who does his duty? And we are being told that, about 75% or 72% were able to vote. I said, okay, fine. Now tell me 28% or 15 million. Now you see where we are going. And therein lies the danger. Therein lies the danger. And I'm praying. Look, all of us should pray that the EC gets it right. Because you say, if it bends, you are inside. We will all pray that the EC gets it right on Wednesday. Because can you imagine, even if it's 10% of 15 million, or 5% of 15 million, who are disenfranchised, and they say to we won't agree. Look, our kids are in the security agencies. I have stood on a picket line before. It's frightening. When you have 23-year-old soldiers, policemen, with a few barricades with their guns, about 50 of them, facing a crowd of about 15,000. Angry crowd. I have stood on a picket line before, and I don't know what happened to me. I wouldn't tell you. We should avoid it. We should avoid it. And we should all pray as a people that the EC gets it right on Wednesday.
Keep your messages coming, and I'll definitely catch up with you. It's 0560 800 000. 0560 800 000. Those of you listen to us on Joy 99.7 FM, it may sound a new number to you, but that's the number for Joy News Television. But yes, send your messages there and I will catch up. Or you can tweet me at Nana Ansah-Quao. Quao is KWAO, at Nana Ansah-Quao, KWAO. And I will catch up to you. Let me just remind you all that you are watching and you are listening to PM Express on the Joy News channel on Multi TV, also on DSTV channel 421. Is my director saying I should take a break? Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, and then when I come back, the conversation continues. And you know what we're going to look at? We're going to look at the religious aspect of the campaigning. And also, we have dodgy ballot papers floating about in Kumasi to talk about. It's going to get hot. Don't move. Well, hello. Thank you very much for staying, and you are listening to PM Express on Joy 99.7 FM, and you're watching PM Express on the Joy News channel on Multi TV and also on DSTV channel 421 and online www.multitvworld.com/stream. My name is Nana Ansakwao IV. I am your host, and with me in studio is Captain Ebenezer Butukumsin, security analyst, and also Dr. Odro Osai, who is a political economist. Let me catch up with some of your messages that come on my tweet as @NanaAnsakwao. This one says, very interesting. Is it the case of the chick? Oh no, somebody's just retweeting what I just sent. Hold on one second. Say, great work, Nana. Ghanaians are listening. This is Jima David. K.A. Ochri says, Nana, you can feel the passion, meticulousness in Captain. I hope in future positions such as EC chair will be given to army officers. This one is from Ishra. It says the EC must apologize to Ghanaians for poor organization of the special voting. I think the EC chairperson didn't listen. Rashid Ameya, good evening, Nana. NDC focused much of their campaign message on trying to tarnish Nanado's image, which they failed woefully. And this one is from George Opoku 75. He says, if my fellow Ghanaians will think far, they will vote for change like America to move the country forward. Keep your tweets coming on @NanaAnsakwao, and I will read it to you. For some reason, the WhatsApp has frozen, but that's what it does. It will just suddenly spring up all the messages, and then I'll catch up with you. It's 0560-800-000. And let me start with Captain. Now, this morning we wake up, and suddenly there's a news that there's a hotel somewhere in Kumasi, and 3 suitcases with thumb-printed ballot papers. The report we have is that, it's okay. They're only fake ballot papers. I mean, there's no cause for alarm. And I can't seem to understand why we shouldn't be worried.
And that's supposed to be the end of the story?
Well, supposedly. I mean, and if you listen across from media, from the police, everybody seems to say, look, they were not from the EC because, one, they don't have serial numbers, they don't have stamps on it, and the thumb-printed, the ink is blue, instead of black, and therefore nobody should blow hot air.
That's it. You see, these are the things that create anxiety and the rumor mill in the system that feeds on itself and then can mushroom and degenerate into something else. You had the principle of the what do you call it? The snowball.
Snowball.
Yeah, it snowballs.
Yeah.
You understand? But let us look at it this way. If you caught me with fake currency, is it an offense? If I was caught with fake currency, is it an offense?
It is.
So if somebody is caught with fake ballot papers, is it an offense?
It is.
Should we just forget it? How did it come about?
Well, they said it has no stamps and it has no.
So therefore, we should just forget it. It's fake. If it's fake currency, it's a problem. It's a fake ballot paper, it's not a problem. And especially in somebody's stronghold, the Ashanti, where they've been speculating and shouting and crying that this is what people plan to do. And you say, it's okay. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. You see, I'm not a lawyer, so I tend to speak sometimes, people say by heart. But the thing is that anybody who is trying to subvert the sovereign will of the state should be punished so severely, it will deter others. It should be raised to some like sabotage, state sabotage, or the offense should be raised so high. It's just like when you are trying to make a coup.
That's right.
It should be a capital punishment. And if it is that high, people will think twice. You try to snatch a ballot box, you are shot on the spot. People will think twice. No, some of these nonsense things will have to stop. We can't just treat it like, and then it degenerates into a fight, and people start fighting, and the police will come in with their riot gears and all that, whilst we could have stopped it and nipped it in the bud. There have been instances, I may be wrong, cars having accidents, and they said there were ballot boxes in there, or ballot papers, then you don't hear nothing about it again. You see, it is this dead silence on cases that pop up in the system that we don't hear anything more about it. Maybe they are being investigated. Maybe they are being handled. But you see, when we don't know, then we speculate. And then it gives energy, fuel, to those who also want to copycat. And so you have the thing mushrooming and feeding on itself. But somebody does this and the person is punished so severely, it has a deterrent factor. I hope we didn't hear right that the police commander said that, oh, we should forget it. It is not fair. I can't believe that statement. I won't believe it.
Dr. Drosai.
I think I see.
Are we exaggerating? Are we blowing?
No, we are not exaggerating. We have every cause to worry. We have every cause to worry because what we have found, I will classify it as value books. They are value books because they are state documents. And as Captain said, I want to agree with him. And you know, it tells me that the panic reaction and the silence of the Electoral Commission suggests to me that they don't have a strategy to deal with issues like that as and when they crop up on the day of elections. And for me, it's a source of worry. Because if you found semblances of electoral materials, they have already been tamprinted. What is the strategy between you and the security agencies to deal with them? It was found in the stronghold of the opposition. The tamprinted ones are going for the other political party. That on its own would put people on their toes. That on its own can be a recipe for disaster and chaos. So how do we manage it? You manage it by quickly initiating investigations, quickly coming up with assurance measures to tell people that, look, we have found this. This is not part of what we brought to you. We have put in place A, B, C, D strategies in case we find any of them. This is how we intend dealing with them. And then also, you tell them the strategies you put in place in other areas. It may not be only the Ashanti region, but we need some assurances. That lack of communication is what is missing. Because if you don't bring out the communication, if you don't give us the information, if you don't share the strategy with us, you allow citizens to script the agenda.
Precisely.
So we have every cause to script the agenda. And that's what we are doing. We are all speculating because we don't have the information, because we are apprehensive, because we are afraid, because we think that it may be happening elsewhere. You know, so the security agency will have to work with the EC. And EC is the institution responsible for the management of this election. So you don't have to sit for the security agencies to approach you. You would have to devise the strategy and you get a security agency to support you. It's rather unfortunate that this is not coming out clearly. I would expect them to come out clearly. In fact, I would expect the EC to make a statement on it tomorrow and then assure the whole of Ghana how they intend dealing with issues like that as and when they crop up. It is not only the Ashanti region issue. If it is to crop up in any other areas, how do they intend dealing with it so it doesn't create electoral chaos?
You see, what I was thinking is, you know, at 7 p.m. when it's dark and there's excitement and they are picking the ballot boxes and they are counting 1, 2, 3. I mean, who's going to say, oh, hold on.
This is blue, this is black.
This is blue. Or what's the serial number on that one? So
That is the challenge.
Can you imagine during the counting, that is where the height of the excitement is. 5, 6, 7, when they are counting. And then suddenly they find some of these ballot papers in there. Can you imagine the confusion? Be it either for the NDC, NPP, PPP, or God knows what, and there's nothing at the back, or it is wrong, or God knows, instead of black, blue ink, who is even going to see the blue? It is a very, very, very serious incident. And like you're saying, the EC cannot remain silent. Look, that one is saying that we should educate the public about the principle of ultimate responsibility. The EC is responsible, and the chairperson bears ultimate responsibility for all these incidents. Either she comes out to make a declaration or delegates it so that the declaration and the comments allays our fears. Otherwise, somewhere along the line, we will have to find out and say that, look, did you measure up or you didn't measure up? And what do we do about it? We can't say that if you don't measure up, you stay there until you are 70 before, and then we labor under you are for 70 years. It's not going to happen. Somebody has to bear responsibility. It's that the buck stops on someone's table.
Well, I think the hotel is under stringent investigation, and so the police should come up with. I'm told some arrests have been made, and I'm sure they will find out what happened to
We're
them.
talking about the papers in the first instance. For the funny secretary of somebody, small girl being paid 250 cedis who wrote these papers, they are chicken feed, But definitely they can find them. You cannot tell me that someone booked in there going to pay money, or was it the room is being dashed out, and they don't know who allowed the person access. This is 15, 20 minutes investigative work. That shouldn't be allowed to cloud the big issue. This is what should be nipped in the bud very, very fast, so that those things are not. You see, in the U.S., when there is a big issue like U.S., Paris, Germany, terrorist things, or the shootings on campuses, you see the police, the mayor, the police commander giving running or regular updates. Why? Because they want to manage people's anxieties. And here, what do? We have what I call executive arrogance. Here, that is what I call it. Big men feel they don't owe nobody any explanation.
It's terrible. We're leaving everybody to guess for themselves. But like you're saying, they come in hourly, we found the suspect, or we are still trailing.
We are still
investigation
so
is still going on.
You manage it, and that has been my experience in the business sector, and it's in the Harvard Business Review. Executive arrogance. It's a big problem. Executive arrogance. When executives are supposed to do things they don't do, and there's nobody to check them, or they don't think that they even owe it to the people.
Well, Sunday, I drove to church, and then from church to Okropong, back to go and usher at Uncle Bo's play. And almost every church I drove past
Was believing.
God help us, keep the country in one piece. God help us, keep us in one piece. Ghana should win, and this, and like, my God, this is the 7th time we're going to do this. And it is almost one ritual, if I may put it, where the politicians will cross and dot every T. I mean, whoever has to vote will vote. Every education, advert, campaign, I mean, even school. I mean, if you don't go to school and you are standing at a traffic light, the president will pass you and wouldn't bother. But as for voting and making sure you have your card, we will not miss that chance. I mean, it's one thing which, even if the state didn't have money, we'll find it. So I just want to find out, why is it that we are going to do this ritual for the 7th time, and we are still calling for peace and harmony, and Ghana should win, Dr. Drosan? I mean, should this not be a routine Akwesidae where we just go and do it blindly and go home?
Well, I think, yes, it should be a routine something, but then it is also not out of place if you remind people of what they need to do. But I think we're overdoing it. We are exaggerating it. In my view, people may have their own perception, but I think we are worrying God too much as a nation. The God factor is there, the religious factor is there. And I know almost all churches prayed for the country. Last Sunday's church, my church, they did it. But I think there is something physical we are not doing. We wait until last minute before we fight for the votes of the religious groups. Look at all the political parties. They have gospel artists all of a sudden singing for them. We have all these pastors, reverend ministers, all of a sudden preaching peace. Nobody's talking about justice. So I think, yes, we are playing that card. But it is about time as a nation we mainstream and streamline the things we do when it comes to the engagement of religious leaders as partners in the governance process. And we play on people's intelligence. That's the bit I don't like. We play on people's intelligence, and emotions, using the religious factor, so they will vote for us. Without looking at the bigger issue, the bigger picture, the real issues on the ground. And that is the challenge I have with religious leaders or the people in religion and governance. Because you don't have to play on people's intelligence. Religion is a solemn activity, it's your relationship with God, and you leave it at that. But then the physical issues are there, and it's the responsibility of that politician to make sure that he's delivered on his promise. You shouldn't allow them to play down on your intelligence. They only know us when it's getting to elections. When there is no elections, you don't know us. That we should stop.
Nana, are you surprised why we take this election thing so seriously? You will be there with a colleague, and then suddenly he becomes something called honorable.
Yes.
Which title we should give, but they have arrogated onto themselves. Whether they behave honorably or not honorably, we don't know. And then suddenly, his life changes. Riding in a V8 with 2 drivers and this and this. It is the winner takes all mentality that is causing this thing. Look, you could be in Germany and they're voting in the next school next to you, and if you are not careful, you will even forget to go and vote. Your billboards, they come down within 48 hours after you voted. If you don't bring it down, the government brings it down, you pay. It's not like when you've won, you put your snout in the trough and you chop all the money. And it's you and your party members and your colleagues and the thing. No. Because of the poverty here, and because we all wanting something to chop, and that is the easiest way for people. Look, I am saying it without any kafra telling all these things. It is a fact that people get into politics and suddenly their economic fortunes change. They build houses, they acquire cars, they get properties and all. I'm not jealous of them. But at the rate at which it happens, that is why it is like a do and die. And then they prey on our spiritual side. Look, I always say that in Ghana here, our religiosity does not match our spirituality. Never. It doesn't. Every Friday, the Muslims are going to the mosque. Every Sunday, we are going to church. And I love it. Sundays and Fridays, when I see people dressed in their best attire, I praise God for that. Do you understand? But that's where it ends. All this, you can't get a service in any office without paying a bribe. Everybody thinks that he has a right to a second and a third salary apart from what he has. Give the policeman a uniform. He is paid. Go to the counter or pass him by the roadside and see whether your English will help you. You understand? You go to the lands department, you want something being done, your document gets lost, you have to pay and beg for the document to be found. You go to court, the court clerk will also do you some tricks. Everywhere we pass, but these are the same people who go to church. The pastors themselves have become infected. The pastors themselves have become infected. Their lifestyles change immediately, they start getting successful. And then there's an all night, close at 2 a.m., raining cats and dogs. He rides away in his 4x4, and the poor guys are left to God, for God. Now he leaves them to the God himself to take care of them. I mean, there are two things. The poverty and the stress we are having here, and the shortcut to riches through politics is making the thing a do and die thing. And then this our over-reliance on God. We always like shortcut. Come for your miracle. Come for your breakthrough.
Lazy.
It makes us lazy. We become mental slaves to all these things. And that is why politics and religion are becoming poisonous to our system.
Dr. Rosa, should we legislate to reduce the cost of attaining power? Would it help if you reduce the cost? Maybe nobody should erect billboards or a limited amount of billboards, something that reduces the cost.
No, it's already provided for in law. When you look at the Political Parties Act, it is provided that all political parties contesting various elections, any upcoming elections, 21 days into the elections, you are supposed to submit your expenditure and the areas you want to spend, your balance sheet and everything, what you want to spend on the elections, to the Electoral Commission. So the Electoral Commission will know your source of funding and what you intend doing. If we were to comply with this simple provision in the Political Parties Act, I'm very positive that we'll be able to manage it. But then there is also the incumbency factor. You may want to comply, but if somebody is an incumbent government, that person or that political party has access to all kinds of resources. You have chief executives having access to assembly vehicles, ministers having access to ministries' vehicles, Office of the President having access to all kinds of vehicles, then you disadvantage the opposition.
With flags and stickers.
So I think yes, it's about time we legislate it. But then for us to have a level playing field, then let's see whether we can have a political parties fund that can do the trick. In Zambia, they have a political parties fund that creates the leverage and the room for all the political parties, and they set minimum standards of campaign that should happen. And again, we should also, as a nation, start thinking about us legislating to allow the incumbent president and all the appointees to step down 3 months into elections so they can concentrate on their campaign and have an interim government managing the system. So if we are able to do that, it will really help.
So you hand over to like the chief executives?
No, the chief executive, unless the chief executive are directly elected by the people. Because if the chief executives are appointed by the president, you can't hand over to them. You hand over to an interim administration provided for in the constitution. All the ministers of state, all the president, it's okay. Go and use 3 months to do your campaigning. Use your private resources, park the state vehicles and everything. And then let's see how it goes.
Captain, before you come in, let me catch up with some of the messages. Wow, your panelists are making my night really good. May God grant them a long life. They are very educative. This is from Anora Emmanuel. And let me go to the next one. Good evening, Nana. The EC is not coming out because in one of her meetings, she made Ghanaians aware that if the results are very close, she would recount again. So if this so-called fake documents get to any polling station, it may be counted for NDC. From Akosia in Community 22 and Tema. Shipman in Atonsu, it's very shocking that the police say the thumb-printed papers are fake and they bear no serial numbers. In any case, what's the motive to even thumb-print fake presidential ballot papers all for President Mahama? The EC must ensure a credible and fair process in order not to jeopardize the peace we have. Ghana deserves better, and the change is a must. Let me announce, for those of you joining us on Joy 99.7 FM, the WhatsApp for TV, which is being aired through radio, is 0560-800-000. Let me get here. No, this is not for us. Let me go back. And it says the EC is bleep. Today in Kumasi, the regional EC director said it's fake ballot papers. My question is, if it had found its way into the boxes, how would anyone know it's fake or not? And I think DCOP, now he's COP, yeah, now COP Kofi Boakye talks a lot. If he thinks the police is ready, he should rather rethink, because the police is not better than Cote d'Ivoire or the other neighboring countries where war broke out. This is in Kumasi. Only God knows for the other regions and villages. Everyone is crying out for peace, but none is crying out for justice. I don't want no peace, but equal rights and justice. You did not add your name. Let me catch up with a couple more messages. This one says, we have been doing the special voting since 1992 without any let or hindrance. The question is, what has the EC done differently that has brought us all this confusion? For me, this is what we should be probing. You didn't add your name, but I see you wearing a sort of a military hat or service personnel. Nana, I sometimes get confused and wondering as to the thinking of our leaders who drew our current constitution. How can a football team appoint a referee to officiate a match? Such team is involved. Our constitutions need a total overhaul. I want to state that so we will come to you for help. Don't call this number, please. Oh, there you go. What did I get to? He says, I want to start that so we will come to you for help. Doctor, you have made my day by saying that The incumbent must step down 3 months before elections. This is from Esiama, and Captain Nadu wanted to react to that.
Well, I was going to say that this issue about incumbency keeps on coming and coming and coming, and we keep on doing and doing and doing, and nobody bails the cat.
Because by the time you get there and you become
When are we going to
incumbent,
stop
it's
it?
too
You
sweet.
see,
Oh. Incumbent, you can
I-
only point incumbent when you are not incumbent. Oh.
Yeah, but you see, the issue is that, you see, leadership makes a lot of difference. If I am not mistaken, I saw in a campaign convoy the president himself giving money to people. If I am not mistaken, maybe
Well,
maybe it was a Kaye or
Yeah,
somebody.
he explained.
But moment mal. The thing is that if you give 10 cedis and I give 50 cedis, are you going to catch me? If you give 10 cedis and I give 50 cedis, it's leadership by example.
No,
You
but
could-
he, no, but
you
he
could-
explained why he gave them money.
Yes, I know.
That,
It's an emotional thing.
Yeah.
But I can exploit it. The issue is that where are the hangers on? Where are your staff officers? Where are your welfare officers? Where are they? Now, when you blaze the trail and we walk on it, what happens?
I mean, can we not pardon him? There's an
We
egg
can.
seller
We
who
can.
who drops her eggs from the chaos.
We can, but you see, the issue is that you don't deliberately do things only to be forgiven. We can. Look, there were two politicians I really admired, and I always said it, and that was John Mahama and Akomia. When the two of them are sitting on TV and they are discussing an issue, you see decorum, you see gentlemen who were well informed, no raised voices, no insults. They talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And these days, I'm wondering whether I was seeing right. These days, I'm wondering what I'm seeing right. Maybe age and power and stress and everything is changing both of them. But I'm telling you, I'm seeing something different altogether with somebody else. I mean, the level of intolerance, the level of some of these comments.
Is that what we demand? Or is that what we're being served? You know, some of the campaign rhetoric, the personal attacks, the low blows. Is this what the electorates are being served? Or maybe that's what excites the electorate. So maybe that's what we are asking for.
No, but then you should live above it. You should live above it. You understand? Because we said that at one point in time, we said that those who will use foul language or some of these things will be the red flag, the red tag, and all those things will be tagged. Unfortunately, that thing died. I mean, anybody who engages in unbridled character assassination of the... Where are the issues? Where are the issues? That is what happened to Hillary and Trump. They never got around discussing the issues. Now we don't know whether this man is going to chase all black men out of America. Because it was never an issue that came up for discussion. It was personal attacks. And we've been personally attacking things, and God knows what many bridges and what many schools and what is the price of one and what is the price of two and all these things. The substantive things were not discussed. The really, really substantive things. We commission a hospital, then you are asked in the morning, so if I go to that hospital, will I get treatment? They say no, until 1st of December. So what the heck were we doing? What the heck were we doing? What were we doing?
Well, let me read this one. This is a good evening. As I could not play the report from the Kumasi police commander for the people to know the exact story. The way Nana introduced the story sends wrong signal to imply that the ruling government is involved. It's only fair he either plays the tape or give a background of the story. Okay, so director, if you have that story, but okay, what happened was the chairman of the MPP in Ashanti region reports to the police that he has an intel that there are some people tampering ballot papers in a hotel. So he reports. The police gracefully gives him men and they go to the hotel. And when they went into the hotel, indeed, they find the suitcase filled with ballot papers that have been tamprinted, all for the president. Nobody knows who did it. And at the moment, we don't know who went to the room. So I don't say it was the government, but that's what happened. And the police then comes out to say that, look, don't worry. The EC also comes and said, don't worry, because the ballot papers that we found were fake. They don't have serial numbers, or they don't have the rubber stamps on it. My argument, and many arguments are saying, is that, or my concern is that, well, on the day of counting, nobody asked for serial numbers or stamps or the color on the thumbprint, and therefore we should treat it as serious rather than neglect it. So I'm in no way saying that the NDC printed the papers or the NDC is involved. I couldn't have known that. So I don't think that's what I want to say, and that's not, until investigations are done, that's not what I want to say. But I am just saying that the papers were indeed found. They were all thumb-printed in blue ink rather than black ink. They don't bear any serial number, or they don't bear any EC stamps, and that's where the story ends. But it was found in the hotel room, as Captain Gudu Kumtin said, for 15 minutes, the hotel should be able to tell us that Kofi, Ama, or Kwesi came to rent the room from X time, that time. Because even the tourist board mandates that you do that.
It's a must.
Mandates that you do that. And by all means, they will put a name down. Even if you gave a fake name, it should be there that, look, Akwesi came and hired.
But they should have CCTV cameras all around.
Maybe they don't have.
Maybe
it's
they
a low-cost one.
So that's the background of the story. I don't know if my director has the tape. They will be able to play it. But let me catch up. Your messages are really coming, and it's only fair that I respect you and read some of the messages for you. Nana, I'm really enjoying your discussion this evening. It's very insightful and educative. Nana, we need these two great men in our government. We really need them. From Joanna Roxon. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on today. My viewers are really appreciating you. Nana, Bumprugu Road is as bad as anything, but the NDC always keeps on promising us to fix it. We are now tired. Change is coming. Well, they can't fix every road. Adumasa Road is not that big. And I've stopped fighting. After the elections, whoever wins, whether NDC, whether MPP, I'll start the fight. I'll start the fight again, because whoever wins has to own the problem. Now the EC have really failed Ghana in the sense that in the history of Ghana, we have had no problems with special voting. I can see that we will have the same problem on December 7th. And I'm so ashamed that from Ghana, when my friends in South Africa are laughing at me when they hear the news from Ghana elections. Okay, tell your friends that this is Kwame from South Africa. So this is Kwame all the way in South Africa, probably watching us online. What kind of hypocrisy is this? The police should follow every case they receive. It's not their work. Is it not their work? What if those papers had found their way into the box? At the time of counting, who would have verified if those papers were from EC or not? It's even more criminal without serial numbers, because those papers could have been counted at any polling station since they had no serial number based on it. Other people were desperate to make voice contribution. They keep calling the WhatsApp number. Let me pick up one. Good evening, I'm Bafo. I think the EC is trying to, no, the EC is not trying to do anything. It's probably administrative error, and we'll give them the benefit of the doubt until then. Nana, if the fake ballot papers were reported to the police by the chairman, Wuntumi, and the hotel receptionist said they were not aware of anything of that sort and had to be led by the chairman, Wuntumi, to the room which the papers were located, I want to know how Chairman Wuntumi became aware of the presence of those ballot papers in the hotel. Well, I think he said he got an intel, but still, he's part of he's the first suspect, isn't he? I think, he's the first suspect. So they have to question him.
If you question him, he will also tell where he got
Okay, this one says, your panel is very skewed, no objectivity. Very good, but thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. But give me an example where you think that my panel have not been objective. That would also help. See the difference? Thank the people for their support. Appeal to their emotions by bringing in your wife and your family. Educate the people how to vote peacefully. No mention of the opponent at all. At least not again. That's a that's a communicator, knows what to say and when to say it. Akumia has changed completely, but JM is still who he was brought up. Maybe you are infected with the one that disease from Eric in Zuwargarugu. But talking about the one that disease, let's look at campaign messages. Today I was, going around and asking my colleagues as to what the NDC message was and what the MPP message was. Now, everybody was able to, yes, one this, one that, one this, one that. But when it came to the NDC, people were not sure as to what directly the message was. Continue, is it just generally continue? But they haven't, given, two this, one that, or one that, three this. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know where I'm coming from. I think they haven't skewed or sang a song about their message to come out.
I think they are riding on the foundation they said they've laid. They are riding on continuity. And what they've not done is to properly couch the message so that it will give people the hope, it will give people the opportunity, as I said earlier on, to put something in people's subconscious mind. Today they did their last rally, and I was expecting them that it was an opportunity for them to come out and say that we'll do A, B, C, D, at least 3 points action plan. Would they have the broad areas, focusing on people, developing the, but what are the specifics? What are the things that would be in the minds of people as they go to the polls to vote? Because I see the NPP coming out with something, I see the PPP coming out with something that will be catchy. The PPP will tell you that, look, we want to see to the direct elections of these CEs. And you see Papa Kwesi Nduom explaining how he became an assembly member and when he saw the relevance of a chief executive and all of that. I expected the NDC to do that. As it stands now, they are campaigning on continuity, general continuity, and that does not bring out the issues well. So if they can have a way of bringing out the issues well, so people will have a feel of what exactly they are going to do if voted into office again to really help.
I mean, could JM Twaso, they are continuing. I mean, should they coin any other message other than, look, I am building you 200 schools, flyovers, hospitals, so...
You see, yeah, it's Twaso. If it is Twaso, then what else? What other message should they give? It means they are so satisfied in their own eyes with what they've done. So we continue, and that is what people, Ghanaians, will like, and so that's Twaso. But you see, like you're saying, we want to know what social interventions. Governance is about my welfare. Every government builds roads. Every government builds hospitals. That's why you take my taxes. Every government is supposed to do these things that are being done. Look, if the MPP is in power, it will accuse the NDC that it is normal. If then the MPP, the NDC will also say it's normal. So what? So governments do these things. But like, when we come and say, look, we will introduce something like the National Health Insurance Scheme, and you do it, even if it was on the drawing board, and you do it, it sticks in people's minds. You understand? Look, somebody says that we have a capital expenditure budget, and we spend the money from Accra, and Accra decides what is good for you. I said, wait a minute. For people to see things tangible in their lives, I will take a portion of that thing and give it to you yourself. You decide what it is that is pressing you. You are near the fire. You know what is pinching you. So if it's a public latrine, you want to use your $1 million to do a public latrine. If it is a water ball, what do you want to do? You understand? So that they also feel inclusive, not things always being dictated from the top to them. These are things that people will remember. But if you say Twaso, for the roads, we all Twaso. Kwame Nkrumah built roads. Yeah, Champon built roads. Rawlings built a lot of roads. Kufuor built roads. JM has built roads. And God willing, whoever comes will also continue building roads. Because you have to continue building. You're taking my taxes, you got to build the schools. You got to improve the schools. You're taking my taxes, you got to build the hospitals. You got to improve the facilities. What is new? Let us see some new initiatives being cooked, being thought. This is where we have creative thinking and execution. I don't see it.
I don't think I just maybe they haven't coined it, but I don't think there isn't any plan on the drawing board. But maybe they haven't coined it in such a way that resonates.
So whose fault is it that it hasn't been coined to resonate? Whose fault is it that it hasn't been coined for it to resonate? Someone says, is that one district, one factory? Whether it is a dugout or a dam or a water or a what, it is one district, one something. I mean, it's there. I mean, you can make jokes about it. You can do whatever it is. Every district, every locality has something it can do. Ask the indigenes. They will tell you what they can do. They were living before we all were developed. They can tell you what it is that they are doing. As for the roads and all these things, you will have to do it, no matter who you are. 100 years from now, the government that will come, when my bones are already down there, will have to continue making roads, have to continue building houses, have to continue building schools.
Let me catch up with some of our messages. They're just coming in thick and fast. This is on Twitter, at Nana Ansah Kwao. It's KWAO, at Nana Ansah Kwao. It says, may I know where they belong, cause it sounds like you have a panel MPP guys on the program tonight at Kwamina Krinzel. This is K. Ochre at...
Label them and silence them.
I was going to, we'll do that. K. Ochre, at least MPP has said what they will do.
Yes.
All NDC has said is everything is not possible. Your panel have said it all. This is K. Ochre. To Kwamina Krenzel comes in again and says, I'm watching live from Worcester in Massachusetts. Ato, you're welcome to the show and great. This one is Johnson in Ketia. He says, who says nobody can print an original ballot paper apart from the EC? Whether fake ballots or not, they ought to be investigated. And Salisu Alidu Mahama, Nana, I'm totally disappointed in you. Why? They are talking as if NDC has lost to MPP. We have been talking about results here too. Hello, Eric Benson says, hello, Nana. Our peace council is made up of bleep and women who don't seem to care about Ghana. I think they're doing what they can do. And then Louise Kwesi Amankra, thanks, Nana, for a great show. I wish this show doesn't end because your panelists are on point, especially Captain Budu. Akwesi Amponsa says, child, in this special voting, in the special chaos in the special voting is a manifestation of how unorganized we are as a people. Proper planning would have averted this. Kwame Osei Bruja, the difference in Ghana now is that there is no red bullets, but no red bullet. But I know I am not safe here. I don't trust the security in Ghana. Rashid Ameyao, no. Nana, we should be very much worried about the ballot papers. Imagine it happened in the Volta region, the opposite way. And of course, Morris Robin Joseph in Ketia says, this is what happens when we celebrate mediocrity and despise the truth. Really, it's not only in Ghana. This was in Shira coming back to... but on the issue of labeling and silencing, this has become a tool and it's very effective. And I'm telling you that most of us, even some of the brave ones, sometimes it will silence you. Nana, you're MPP, hey, today you are NDC. And it could silence the good ones. And so there are so many issues which could have been brought to the fore and you get to keep quiet. And last last Monday, I thought, look, I'm going to be brave. I'm an Akwamu man. And I said, listen, when Nana Addo said, Yenya Kamfo Yesuru Moja is not tribalistic, and I am fed up with people trampling it as a tribalistic.
Apologizing for
this, I said,
things
it is not tribalistic. And, you know, I lived to today, you know, but I didn't think I would survive after the show. But so it wasn't easy when I was writing the show to say, look, I'm fed up with this thing. It's not tribalistic, and people should be bold to say, listen, it's not tribalistic. But as soon as you say that, it means you are MPP, and you know, so you just have to leave it.
But Nana, you see, I think
And
that
even this,
in every
you know,
society, we should have a group of people, a critical mass of people who would be the conscience of the nation. You should speak truth and nothing but the truth. You should be able to defend the truth. You should be able to speak for the average Ghanaian. I take it as if I speak for the vulnerable. I speak for the average Ghanaian down there. I speak for the voiceless. I speak for people who cannot defend themselves. Why was I sent to school? Why did they use the taxpayers' money to educate me? Why did I acquire all this knowledge? Why did I go to read law? So I will be able to defend the defenseless. I am not affiliated or associated to any political party. I speak as a Ghanaian, and I speak to effect to ensure that there is good policies. I want to sleep when I sleep. I want to make sure that my children will not come and suffer. I want to make sure that we are all happy in this country. And I'll continue to challenge the status quo until the right thing is done in this country. No matter how I am labeled. I am not aligned to any of the political parties. Any political party I think I'm a member should come up. I am not a member of any of the political parties. I'll continue to speak my mind and be very objective and be honest and truthful to myself as a Ghanaian. That if we are able to do that as technocrats, as academicians, as people who are in consultancy, we will then be able to put politicians on their toes. If we don't take sides and we speak to them, at times when they go in their closet, they review what we say again and they listen to us. But they come out and then blast us. Let us continue to hit them hard. Let us continue to speak the truth. Let us continue to fight for the average Ghanaian. And I'm very positive that one day we'll see Ghana rubbing shoulders with the most developed countries in the world.
Captain, it's not very easy.
Nana, I know it's not easy, but you see, it is a sign. I pity them. Those who do that, they are looking for the cheap way for avoiding critical discussions. Yeah. And they missed out. They missed out where their parents or people didn't mentor them to live their values openly on their sleeves. It's a sign of leadership. It's one of the cardinal signs of leadership to live your values openly. True or false? True. You can't be a leader when you can't live your values openly. Live your values openly. The issue is that if it is bad, it is bad. I wouldn't even say that I am not politically aligned. I have a vote. Even if Afarijan had a vote, Charlotte should vote. If she doesn't vote, we should sack her. Otherwise, we are all fools. She's just fooling us, and we should go and form line and vote, and she won't vote. What the heck? She has a vote. Fact of the matter is that the fact that I support you doesn't mean that I should shut up if you are doing something that goes against my values. That is the test of leadership. I am politically aligned. I know who I will vote for. But if my party comes to power and they abuse themselves and they become arrogant and they become thieves, I will challenge them openly. That is a sign of leadership. So we should not be afraid of being labeled. The people who even gave him the right even to label me? Who gave him that right? Who gave you even that right to label me?
Well, this is Henry. Hi, Nana. I think that the discussion this evening is one-sided, especially concerning the EC and the ballot paper story that broke up with this morning in Kumasi. I'll be glad if you can play the soundbite so we can listen to this COP, is now a COP, and the Ashanti Regional EC official. The police did say they will investigate, which I have said. The police said they are investigating. The issues have really been twisted tonight. I expect you to play the devil's advocate, but you are not. Thanks, Henry. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Henry, that as a host, if something is blatantly wrong, why do I come as a host and pretend that, oh no, if it's blatantly wrong? I mean, this is not an academic question where there's a yes or no. If it's wrong, Henry, I wish if you can send me a message as a host. If it's really wrong, why should I shy away from it? That's one thing which has silenced, the great majority of us.
If you don't have the courage They will cow you. You understand? They will cow you. And we, as a leader, you see, leadership is lonely. Sometimes it's very lonely. Leadership can even be scary. As a leader, you should be able, you know what is best for the people. You should be able to be the lone dissenting voice. Yes. That is the mark of leadership. Not pandering to your people when you know that you're in a cottage and then you pan because you fear. Look, leadership has nothing to do with fear. If you fear, you lack some of the main ingredients of leadership.
Then you are not even qualified to lead.
You are not even qualified to be a leader.
Why should you be an afraid person and you lead me? No, you should be stronger than I do. You should take the most difficult decisions I am not prepared to take. If you can't do that, then you're not qualified to lead me.
See, but, Dr. Joe, we are very divisive, we're very partisan, sharply in the middle. And in almost any decision taken in this country is taken on party lines. Any decision. Sometimes it's amazing. Like even these ballot papers go wrong and you interview and you find that MP people say, look, we are apprehensive. NDC say, oh, no, as far as we're okay. I mean, it's like with every decision is divided on party line. I remember even critical and challenge, that the economy was challenged or the economy is critical. So depending on which political party you were, your language had to change. So, you know, as a media person, if I dare stand and say, oh, the economy, I don't think the economy is in trouble. Because if you dare say challenge, then, if the economy is in crisis,
that is where I had a challenge with the academia. How come that now in Ghana, we know how to define national debt better than what you call IMF, better than World Bank? Which schools did we go to? Aren't these people who wrote the books and taught us? Yeah. You know, and then but we had our professors and the lecturers sitting down there, and maybe because they also didn't want trouble, were refusing to use the right words. Well, the thing is that they say that if your mom is dead and you say she's gone to market, you wait. Do you understand? If you are in crisis and you say you are challenged, you wait. The thing will come. What made us go? We were just challenged and we went to the IMF. We were not in crisis. So when we go in crisis, where will we go? When we get into crisis, where will we go? It's a matter of semantics. And semantics will not make the real case vanish. I will tell you a story. I was a refugee in Germany. And I started making a lot of noise. Look, my rights. And I've got the UN Charter. I said, who is that guy making so much noise in that asylum home? They said, bring him here. And the guy I went to talk to was the number 2, number 3 guy in the system, and he could deport me. But listening to his name also was not German. You saw that you are a foreigner where you've come and maybe a 3rd generation, 4th generation. And he said, Mr. Combson, sit down, let me tell you something. You may think you have rights. You have no rights. You are stateless. Until you accept your true situation, you will not grow out of your situation. That is when I started thinking. I was stateless. In fact, when shove comes to shove, you have nowhere to go. You accept your situation and you say, where am I? I'm down there. Do I want to stay down there? No. Then let me get my loins and start working. But when you start obfuscating about your own situation, I mean, it becomes very difficult, or even when you are able to rectify your situation, it is a delayed action. You could have acted earlier, but then it becomes a delayed action because you are lying to yourself. And that's the worst thing you can do to yourself, to lie to yourself. I would rather lie to you than lie to myself.
This one says, PM Express, stop being biased. Nana, your panel members are speaking for MPP, and it's not fair because people are going to tag your program as MPP campaign platform. Dr. Prempeh Owusu-Bright, Dr. Anajuide, Mayor MPP. As I've told you, we need to get out of this fear of tagging, and I think we've been objective as much as possible. Talking about national issues which have started, and there's nothing MPP about it. Trust me. It's just the truth.
Ballot papers have been found. This one too is.
Captain, I salute you. Please keep your values high. Thank you for your vim. Those saying today's panel is one-sided have a problem. What else should should even the presidency, apart from what these guys are saying, they always want to draw party lines and colors, and it's with party colors. We salute today's panel. If I had my own way, I would give them the order of the Volta. This is Philip in Mankisim. But I hope, that most of our colleagues would brave this thing. And that's one show that I really want to do right after the elections, that when we start immediately after the elections, because it's when you wait and see, then a precedent has been set. But when we start immediately, I want nobody to ever make a reference anymore. Whoever comes into power, whether MPP or NDC, it's a fresh slate. Don't go back and say, oh, Kufuor did it, Buzia did it, or he did it, or if Nana Addo comes, don't go back and say, oh, but no. Whatever happens today has happened today. And if it's wrong, we don't go and look for any equalization, because I think it's really keeping good people mute.
In fact, equalization is an exercise in mediocrity. So you stole 20 cities, and if I have stolen 15, does it make it right?
You're right in the wrong.
Well, that's what we have been doing. That's what we have been doing ever since. Let me say that you've been listening to us on Joy 99.7 FM. You've been listening to us or watching us on the DSTV channel 421, and also on Multi TV on the Joy News channel. This is PM Express. My name is Nana Ansakwa the Fourth, and today we've been looking at 24 hours to go for elections 2016, matters arising, the heated campaigns, the ups, the downs, what people miss, what people did not miss, and indeed it has been interesting. You've been sending your messages via WhatsApp, and want to say thank you to that. Let me just get one more question in there before I sound out. It says, Nana, I want the security analyst to know that the ballot papers have been found, yet we do not doubt the capability of the MPP to draw the name of the NDC into the mud. That's all part of the investigation. You didn't add your name, but that's a very good point, and that's why it has to be investigated. But you know what? Tomorrow we're back to do this all over again. For those of you who are watching and want one of my nice shirts, call 0243 366 2001. 024 366 2001. Tantis Fashion, they make my shirts for this show. I want to say a big thank you for my panelists who stayed an extra hour to, deliberate on this issue. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you very much for listening and watching. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nana.
Thank you, Nana.